Today I'm sharing secrets for improving your sight reading at the piano fast. I've always loved sight reading. In fact, one of my favorite things to do at the piano is to read through new music for the first time. In this video, I'll show you the exact strategy I use when sight reading so that you can apply it successfully to your own piano practice. This is a series of teaching videos meant to show you how you can easily boost your musicianship skills in each daily practice session at the piano. Many people aren't sure what level of piece they should be reading through, and I think a lot of times they pick something that's too difficult. So for example, if you are in elementary piano, you might want to read through something that is pre-grade 1 or beginner level. And if you are in intermediate level piano, you might want to start sight reading through elementary level. And of course, be sure to pick something that you're interested in reading through. Make sure it's something you're excited to play because you want the whole process to be fun. I'm going to go through 5 steps that I use when sight reading through new music. And after that, I'm going to share with you the hardest thing to do when sight reading. The first thing that you want to do before you even play a note is take a look at your piece and do a quick assessment of it. When you look it over, you'll want to look at the title. This could give you a clue as to the type of piece it is or the style. For example, a gentle sunset for the title, or the chase. That's going to let you know something about the style or the mood of the piece. You can also check the composer. You may not recognize the composer, but if you do, that'll help you gauge what time period the piece was written and maybe give you some more clues as to what style it should be performed in. The other thing I always look at right away is the beginning tempo marking or expressive marking. It might say something like lively or not too fast or with expression. And finally, make sure you look at the time signature and the key signature. This is super important. The key signature is going to tell you what accidentals are in the piece, which sharps or flats, and it can also give you a clue as to what key it's in. If the time signature is a little bit less familiar, maybe it's in compound time such as 6/8, you'll be able to go over in your head what the counting is before you start to play. The second thing I do, and this is also before playing a note, is to look at the rhythms in the piece. You can do this fairly quickly. Just sort of scan through and see if there are any note values or maybe dotted notes or perhaps triplets or anything that pops out at you that's a little bit unusual or looks a little bit tricky. The spots that are rhythmically tricky, you can try to figure out in your head before you start playing. This really sets you up for success when you actually go to play the music. You're going to know already what the rhythms are and what that beginning part of the song is supposed to sound like. The third thing you're going to do is to scan the notes of the piece. Look for notes that might be higher or lower on the staff than you're used to reading. If you spot these notes beforehand, you can quickly figure them out before you actually read through the piece. Keep an eye out for accidentals that have been added to the piece besides the key signature. So this could include extra sharps, flats, or naturals. It's easier to look at it beforehand and just keep note of it as opposed to reading through and being a little bit surprised by it. One final thing you can do with the notes is take a look at what each hand does. What I mean is, does one hand look like it's accompanying the other? Maybe the left hand has a chordal or a broken chordal accompaniment, or does the right hand look like it has the melody? Doing a quick scan of what each hand does is really going to help you once you start playing. The fourth thing that you can do before you start playing the piece is to look at any additional markings that you may want to add. These things may not be totally possible to add when you're sight reading through, but it's good to look at them and decide if that's something that you're going to try or not. Some of these things might include pedal markings, dynamics, or articulations, such as staccatos or slurs. What kind of music do you enjoy sight reading through, and did you ever do any of the things I just went over before even playing a note? Let me know in the comments. We've gotten to the final part of my strategy, which is to play through your music. You've done all of this work beforehand, and now it's time to play through. In my opinion, you don't need to play through too fast. Even if it's a piece that's marked fast, it's probably sounding faster than you feel you're playing it. And also, you can express a fast or lively character in your playing without actually speeding the tempo up too much. If you go faster than you're comfortable with, you won't be able to keep up with the sight reading and things might fall apart. So just try to remember that the piece doesn't have to be perfect when you're playing it through, but it is important to try to incorporate all of the elements that make it into a piece and not just playing the right notes. I'm going to share what I think is the hardest thing about sight reading, and that is not stopping while you play through. Remember, you're not practicing this piece. You're trying to play it through for the first time all the way through. A lot of people stop when they're playing through and try to fix something, but often they can't fix it right away, and it turns into more of a stopping point. You lose the flow of the piece, and you're not really sight reading through anymore, you're practicing the piece. Keep the other things that I mentioned in this video in mind, and your sight reading as a whole will be successful. If you'd like some original pieces to sight read through, please download my free ebook. It has 6 pieces. These 6 pieces are all different styles and also a variety of levels. I'll be sure to leave the link in the description. And if you're looking for more ways to boost your musicianship in each practice, be sure to check out the next video in this series.